Partea is presented here by Professor Radu Damian. Sorry, Radu Mircea Damian. Sorry. And I will give him the floor to open the debates for today. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you, University of Bucharest, and the rector, Professor Pânzaru. I made a correction because my two names are not commutative. That's the way my IT was issued, so I have to stick to the official document. This topic is, to me, a very interesting one, and I can't have dreamed of a better introduction than that given to us by Professor Pânzaru, for reasons which will be discussed in a little more detail in my presentation, which is scheduled in this morning. Now, I don't know if my message will be of interest to you. I'm not certain of that. But what I'm certain of is that you are going to see nothing for my slides, because the screen is too small. So that will make me speak more than I envisaged, because I was hoping that you see the screen and I could only make comments. So in that case, I'll be obliged to read what I shouldn't have read because it's already written. However, if some of you would like to come closer, would help me to have the message pass more easily, that's an invitation. You can do that any time, even if I start speaking. And I will go there to the computer, so to actuate the slideshow. And I think there is a microphone over there, so you can hear. I'm not so used to this vista. Again, a fact, another material proof that technology is stronger than people sometimes. I came here earlier to put that on the computer, but I didn't try it. So now I didn't really expect that to happen. Use add, remove process, which is add. Remove the message. That's going to add in control words. Now, the introduction has been done. And now I will go to the first slide. It's just, I said there's no better opening than the one which was presented by Professor Pânzaru. So I started with the recommendation of the Council of Europe, number 2007, number 6, responsibility for multiple purposes of higher education and research. This is the recommendation of the Committee of Ministers to all the government. It's not obligatory. It's a recommendation to all the states, members of the Council of Europe, 47 members. So it speaks about democracy and equitable societies, what Professor Pânzaru was saying. The public authorities should ensure that higher education institutions, while exercising their autonomy, can meet society's multiple expectations and fulfill their various and equally important objectives. The term is very carefully chosen. It's objectives, it's not missions. Missions are more targeted towards one university purposes. The first is preparation for sustainable employment, which is probably the most discussed topic in the public area. Everybody speaks about employability, sustainable employment, how the graduates would meet the demands of the labor market. Brackets, nobody has yet defined the labor market. Then preparation for life as active citizens in democratic society. Very few people speak about that. So their statistics say that in the elections, the percentage of people with higher education is lower when going to vote than the percentage of people going to vote who have not went through the higher education. Then personal development, again something which we speak very seldom about. So really it would matter for a person if he studied in the university, he would become not a better person, but he would be having something additional as education than people who have not. Then development and maintenance through teaching, learning and research of a broad, advanced knowledge base. The last line, and this is why I'm reading because I'm sure you can't see, the last line is in a way the most commonly used parameter for ranking universities. So it's just one component of what universities should do. However, we try to rank universities in a one component dimension, only research. Of course, there are research universities which are competing with each other in a way. Sometimes they are cooperating, and that's the characteristic of the higher education, where cooperating, but we compete for all kinds of things, for students, for whatever, for prestige, for better position, but still, it's just one component. Now, what are quality assurance agencies doing? They are doing what the minister has told them to do in 2005. And we have European standards and guidelines. We have a register, and we have here the highest representative of the register. We have a colleague for another quality assurance agency from a country for which higher education has become one of the best assets for the country. The quality of higher education in Finland, it's undeniable, very high. And of course, we have now in many countries quality assurance agencies. Some of them are members of the European Association for Quality Assurance Agencies, ECA, and some of them are listed in the ECA. Now, the mission of RACIS, which is the Romanian agency, and it's full member of ECA, it's listed in the ECA, is to evaluate, assess, audit, we speak about terminology with the data, higher education institutions and their programs. Now, in what I wanted to present here is the result of an exercise of institutional evaluation. That means looking at universities, not a presentation of our results in looking at study programs, and in the Romanian terminology, they're called also specializations. Now, in the government documents, it's study programs. But in our evaluation, we have a paradigm. We cannot decouple the university of the programs. So we evaluate at least 20% of the study programs, and I think this makes a double exercise in a way, because the rules are much more detailed for the programs. Now, the reason for which we do that is related to the Romanian environment in the society and in higher education. We have a very diverse higher education system with state universities, old and new. With private universities, most of them very new, 20 years is nothing in terms of developing a real quality culture in universities. So you have to be very careful not to sell illusions to students and to candidates. So this is why we need also to be very careful when determining the normative conditions based on input criteria, and I'll make that distinction afterwards, in order to say if this provider of higher education meets at least minimum standards to have the possibility to go on. Now, the status of RHs is now that it was established in 2005 by emergency ordinance just after the Bergen ministerial meeting. Then it was discussed in the parliament, and the government ordinance became law in 2006. In 2007, it was candidate member of ECA, then full member in 2009, and listed in the ECA among the 29 agencies which are now listed. Now, the quality level is checked for, and that's according to the law, on 3 domains. Institutional capacity, that's domain A, effectiveness of education, domain B, and quality management, domain C. My presentation would be, in a way, more detailed in terms of effectiveness of education, because in that domain we look about learning outcomes, the role of learning outcomes, and I'm trying not to forget the topic of the conference. Now, other legal provisions, it's a government ordinance, the law of education, which is still valid, the law of statutes of teaching staff, and also the way the fees of RHs are established. And then we have our own guides, 6 volume of the guide. You see study programs, part 1, part 2, institutional evaluation for authorizing or accreditation, part 3, external evaluation of accredited higher education institutions, and the results I'm going to introduce now are those of this type of evaluation. Then external or teaching